This is the journey of Stellenis, a young dark iron dwarf whose greatest goal is to learn all he can about Azeroth and beyond's blacksmithing techniques. From the Elwyn Forest to Northrend to Outland, he wishes to learn everything. But he starts here in simple Elwyn Forest, where most people begin their journeys. He will travel far and wide, go through perilous dungeons, speak to local blacksmiths all over the Eastern Kingdoms, and of course, see the sights. But he will not rest until he finds every blacksmithing plan in Azeroth. We start as most people do, killing wolves in Northshire Abbey for some quick experience, in order to get our lay of the land before we start exploring, running into invisible orcs along the way, clearing them out for the local human population, showing them that the Dark Iron Dwarfs are not ones to be messed with. After quickly healing some injured soldiers and taking out more goblins, we've done a good enough job to be sent as volunteer firefighters to the vineyard. Taking out more Dark Horde orcs along the way, we quickly saved this vineyard from burning to the ground. Then we move on to taking out their leader. Not much of a challenge for a Dark Iron Dwarf as skilled as Stellenis. And with that quest finished, we hit level 12 and are finally set out into the world. We introduce ourselves to some of the local bandit population, and then we start mining up some early copper ore to start training up our blacksmithing skills for the future. Elwyn Forest has an abundance of copper ore, and we plan on using it. I set out to kill Hogger because it's every Alliance citizen's duty, but then the FBI shows up to arrest him, so I let them take care of it. We move on to the Fargo Deep Mine to do some quick gathering and kill some kobolds outside, looting a bag that will quickly get replaced. After taking my time killing this last kobold, we finally move on to the Jasper Lode Mine. We clear that out and relieve it of its sweet, sweet copper ore. And while I'm killing these kobolds, I begin to have a little bit of fun. I'm an unstoppable war machine! Hiya! It's been a while since I've actually leveled a warrior, and it's actually been a lot of fun playing it. Fury's always been one of my favorite warrior specs, and it still hasn't really changed. All of a sudden, of course, I'm jumped by three kobolds, who quickly learn that 3 against 1 is still not a fair fight for them. As we move deeper into the cave, we find that there is a gigantic spider mama and all of its spider babies. We quickly dispatch with the spider mama and somehow take an astronomically long time to kill all the tiny little spider babies. You would think a small spider baby would die quickly to an axe and a hammer combo, but apparently they're a little more durable than I thought. After not looting anything of real significance from that spider, we move back to the Fargo Deep Mine because I completely forgot to pick up every single quest I had to do with the Fargo Deep Mine because I am an idiot. But I figured this would be a good time to explain some of the rules of this quote unquote challenge. For the classic blacksmithing, my goal is I want to try to collect all of the blacksmithing plans that I can feasibly learn. There are some that have insanely low drop chances of less than 1%, which I will attempt to try to get, but it's not going to be required. Buying stuff off the auction house is allowed as long as it is not a part of my professions. I cannot buy ingots, metal, any of that stuff because I can earn that myself. But leather, enchanting things, I can. There's also two small side missions I want to give myself. One, I have to craft myself an entire set of classic dark iron armor because it just feels fitting to have the original heritage armor on. And two, I want to build Sulfuros, the Hand of Ragnaros, before we're allowed to move on to Outland. But we'll talk about that when that comes up. As I admittedly extremely slowly take out all the rest of these kobolds, I'm finally able to move on to doing some of the other quests that I enjoy in Elwyn Forest, like taking out Princess, that has to be taken out because she's currently eating all of Ma Stonefield's vegetables. Then we move on to killing the entire boar population of Elwyn Forest simply to make a small child a meat pie. Then I agree to help these lawn crossed lovers create an invisibility potion so that they can sneak off with each other and be together, even though I don't understand why they don't just leave. I move on to killing Murlocs, finally getting the last kelp frond, so that this old man can stand here and take a long time to make one potion. I come back, I give her the potion, and before she even turns invisible, I leave to do better things. I come back to the stone fields and turn in all their quests, and then I turn in the knoll quest that I completely forgot to turn in. Then I run around and collect all of Elwyn's sweet, sweet copper, and asserting my dominance on the local wolf population so they know that I own this territory. Then, after collecting this copper, I level up again, and move on to collecting all the rest of Elwyn's copper ore. I finally make my way into Stormwind to take a nice needed break and visit the capital of the Alliance. I go to the old Dwarven district and I learn all my new mining skills. I attempt not to grab Cataclysm mining, but I'm pretty sure I do accidentally grab it. But we ignore it for the time being. I speak to my boy Therum Deepforge, and it's time to get our first of many blacksmithing plans. Magnus Frostwake here, out in the western Plaguelands by Scholomance, has quite a few plans that we can buy from him. However, they're a little too high level for our current blacksmithing skill, so I'm going to put those in the bank, and we'll worry about those in the future. Now, while we take a nice stroll through Stormwind, let me explain something that we're going to do. I've decided that we are going to be spinning a wheel of a class and race for a crafting alt, because I've noticed some of the higher level blacksmithing plans require Arcanite bars, which is something I myself cannot create. It requires an alchemist. So, I've decided that instead of waiting, we're going to do that now. The crafting alts is something I've wanted to do and I knew I wanted to do it. But I think what we're going to do is maybe one per expansion once we unlock it. So this one will be our classic. And then when we get to Burning Crusade, we'll make another one, more than likely for leatherworking or tailoring. I'm not quite sure yet. But more than likely, we're probably not going to need one for Wrath of the Lich King. I feel like probably for blacksmithing, having a leatherworker and an alchemist is probably enough. But without further ado, I'm going to cut to my past self and spin the wheel. All right. We are going to be picking our secondary character. Any one of these races is fine, I suppose. Although, I'm really hoping. I want normal Tauren. Did I even put them on here? I did not. I put High Mountain Tauren. Hold on, everyone. That would have been embarrassing. It's like, man, I hope I get Tauren. Literally can't. Shuffle those names up. All right. Let's see who we get. Oh, 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 oh. Oh my god. All right, sick. We got Tauren, everyone. We got Tauren. That means now we go to the class wheel and we're going to pick out of all of these. Now, I know what you guys might be thinking. It's not a lot of classes. I don't want to play I'm fine with a paladin. I don't want to play a druid. I'm leveling a druid, a warlock I'm leveling. There's so many things I'm leveling. Out of all of these, that is completely fine. Let me see real quick. Let me make sure I'm not missing any. So we are going to spin for the class. Mage. Tauren Mage. Okay, that's interesting. Back to current me. Now we start making our new Tauren Mage. I decided that I've made so many male Tauren, and they probably wouldn't look that great in most mage robes. I decided for the first time in my life, branch out, make a female Tauren. For most of this next leveling process of the starting zone for the Tauren, I'm just gonna kinda let it go on its own.
Great tragedy has rocked the Tauren tribes and shaken their once stalwart devotion to the Horde. A disagreement between the new Orc war chief Garrosh Hellscream and the beloved Tauren chieftain Cairn Bloodhoof led to a duel that ended in Cairn's death. With his loss, the vile matriarch Magatha Grimtotem launched a murderous attack, attempting to seize control of Thunder Bluff for herself. However, Cairn's brave son, Bane Bloodhoof, successfully repelled the attack and banished the surviving Grimtotem to the farthest reaches of the land. Under Bane's hopeful leadership, the Tauren people now seek to heal their wounds and restore the balance between the various factions of the Horde. To this end, a new generation of Tauren Sunwalkers has arisen to lead their people into the light of a new dawn and the promise of rebirth. As a proud tribesman of Mulgore, you must uphold the honor of your people and safeguard the lands of your ancestors.
Crafting alt, which I chose. The rules for the crafting alts for this quote-unquote challenge is going to be per expansion we get one. So classic includes one, and I've chosen that seeing how little I've had to work with. So we're going to be living a Tauren Mage, which is definitely an interesting kind of like. Okay. Yeah, you guys are gonna face all one spell I have. Probably go Frost Mage. I had to. There is no probably. We will eventually go Frost Mage. But I quickly go through, freeing all of the captured Taurens and killing all of these Quillboars, which is an interesting quest from the peaceful Tauren. But I guess they are kind of an invasive species. But as I quickly take out them and I head back to turn in this quest, we move on, which the next quest is very different. It's to run to a different section and kill more Quillboars. And as I nail that sentence on the first attempt, I quickly take out as many Quillboars as I can as fast as possible because I'll be honest, these kind of quests are extremely boring. After taking out about, I'd say, maybe 1/1,000,000th of the population of Quillboars in Mulgore, I turn in my quest, I level up again, and in celebration, we take a short dance Then, after that little rest, we decide to take out even more things. But this time, we're killing what looks to be infected pigs. I'll be honest, I didn't really read this quest. But I do as I'm told, and I decided to make one of the best pig roasts that Mulgore has ever seen, making sure this entire valley smells like smoked pork. After giving some of the pork some frostburn, I decide to move on to killing the bigger ones. I take out the bodyguards that is guarding the big boss Quillboar, and then we take on our first boss fight. Well, some boss fight that was. After looting what I need from him, we head back to participate in a Tauren funeral, which I'll let my voice acting carry this through. Use the ceremonial offerings
The eternal
At the
sun
grave.
shine upon thee.
Earth Mother, into your arms we give one of our own. She is Unaya Hawkine, my mother. I was not ready to read this quickly, and the grass whispered her name. Watch over her as she has watched over us. Let her look down on us with joy through the eternal gaze of Anshi and Musha, until we too join her in death. For we are all born of you and shall all return to you.
Well met.
There is balance in all things. As Great Mother Hawkwind Spirit takes its final journey, you will begin your first.
Hail. Greetings.
Oh, you have a deep voice.
I've
You are
been
prepared to
expecting
leave
you.
Camp Narachi behind. I will upcall the spirits to guide you onward. Oh, that's a lot of. I'll read this one. Look, Jurani, the rolling plains of Molgor stretch before you. Our home, the cradle of the Earth Mother. Here she provides us with all we could ever need. A peaceful and verdant land. This is what you will fight to protect. Your journey will take you far beyond her sheltering arms, to the farthest and coolest regions of this world. Beyond, below us is Bloodhoof Village. The first step on your true path begins now. Drink deep of the water visions, and let the spirits guide you onward.
After drinking some mysterious liquid this guy just had lying around, I turn into some sort of ghost bird and move on to my journey. However, we're going to cut away from Girardi for a little bit, and she's going to level off on the side. So now we're going to go back to the start of the show. Let's go back to Stellenis. We cut back to Stellenis trying to bribe homeless people into giving him information on a crime that's been happening in Westfall. Some of it doesn't go too well, and he has to resort to aggressive negotiations like Anakin Skywalker would. I checked some of my blacksmithing, and while Girardi was leveling through the starting zone, off the side, I leveled up blacksmithing and mining up to their maximum, so that we don't actually have to worry about gathering journey. I eventually beat up enough homeless people and find the information that I'm looking for, and then I move on to having to beat up more people. But this time, we're going to beat up gnolls, which really aren't people per se. I very slowly take out these gnolls, realizing that my weapons might be a little bit underpowered and have to get new ones. But pretty quickly, I think on the third one here, I get the gnoll clue, which is relatively fast because anyone who's ever done this quest knows that it either takes 45 minutes to get one piece, or you get both of them immediately. But because we got the gnoll one so fast, that just goes to show that more than likely the Murloc one is going to take forever. Murloc after Murloc, and we get no secret. However, because I have severe ADD and cannot keep my mind on track, I all of a sudden remembered that because I've leveled so much, I can learn all those blacksmithing plans we had saved from before. So I come back to Stormwind, and I slowly learn every single one of these new blacksmithing weapons and armors. Checking them out, a lot of the classic weapon designs and armor designs are actually quite cool looking, except maybe not the gloves. Some of the color combinations that classic WoW used to have was definitely an interesting choice, but being able to learn all of these new blacksmithing plans has been really cool. I continue learning the rest of the plans and even realizing that apparently I found one of the other ones, because I had a duplicate. We can head back to Westfall and continue trying to kill these Murlocs for their plans. As we come back to take out all of these Murlocs, and we don't even come close to dying once, I think this would be a good place to stop this first episode. However, next time, we're going to be diving deep into some things I didn't know were in World of Warcraft. So next time, we're going somewhere special. Deep in the Plague Lands, there is an old academy of necromancy that has been long abandoned, but there is a secret deep within the town of Strathholm, there are mysteries to be uncovered and revealed, and old blacksmithing plans left long forgotten. Within these streets filled with the scourge. When we come back next time, the secrets of Naxxramas will be revealed to us, and we can see everything it has to offer. Thanks everybody for watching the first episode of Stellenis' Journey. Hopefully you found some entertainment from it. This is the first ever video I've made of this kind, and I'm going to hopefully improve upon every episode. Until next time, keep your feet on the ground.